Alright, what's up guys? Brian here with another recap video. This time recapping what went down on tonight's episode of Reality of Wrestling. So I'm just going to get right into it. Of course, Reality of Wrestling, based in Houston, Texas, run by Booker T and his wife Sharmell, as well as they have a lot of amazing talent from episodes I've seen in the past, and a lot of great talent that could one day maybe appear in WWE. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But let's just get right into it. I'm also going to be giving my thoughts on Full Gear, which happened last night from AEW. I thought that show was really good. I happened to check it out when I got home from work today. And I thought it was a really good show. I really there were a couple of matches I enjoyed on there, like the 4-way ladder match for the tag belts. I really liked that one. I thought the Texas Death Match between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, I thought was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I thought those two really tore down the house. Of course, I was absolutely surprised that both women's championships changed hands. Not as much as Toni Storm defeating Hikaru Shida, but I was not surprised with that one. But I thought Chris Statlander was going to retain her TBS championship in the triple threat match, but Julia Hart, I don't think anybody, I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody probably picked her to win that one, but she did it, and so congratulations go out to both Julia Hart for becoming the new TBS champion, and Toni Storm for becoming the new AEW Women's World Champion. I basically call those belts both women's championships, because it seems like, so they had to give a secondary title for everybody else, but for the other women that maybe are not going for the AEW Women's World title. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna hate against it. I'm not knocking it, but it's just like they basically have two women's champions. So the other big one that I really liked was the Golden Jets versus the Young Bucks. That saw Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega pick up the win, and now with that victory, they have the Young Bucks' future future shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles at any time. So, and of course the main event I thought was really good. MJF versus Jay White. I like how they set it up on the pre-show, where they had MJF getting injured and then not knowing if he was going to come back to be able to compete, and that he was going to have to vacate the title. But then Adam Cole returned and came out during the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title match on the pre-show, with MJF and Samoa Joe retaining over the Guns and saying that no, I'll defend the title for him, whether I have one leg or not. So, and then MJF came back to fight Jay White and wound up winning. So I thought that was really cool. Also yesterday, a couple of side notes before I get into tonight's episode of Reality of Wrestling, was MLW's Fightland happened yesterday on Fight Plus, I believe. A couple of changes, a title change happened there, as the Second Gear crew, the one called Manders and Matthew Justice, defeated the Calling to become the new MLW World Tag Team Champions. They won it in a ladder match yesterday at Fightland, so that was pretty good to hear. I didn't watch it, but I did read what happened. But it was not a good night. Even though it was a good night for Justice and Manders, it was not a good night for Mance Warner, as he would lose a loser leaves MLW match to Matt Cardona. So that right there was a big blow for the Second Gear crew. As Mance Warner losing the loser leaves MLW match to Matt Cardona last night at Fightland. And then Alex Kane retained his MLW World title over Jacob Fatu. And then they would be attacked by the World Titan Federation that has a new member, as Alex Hammerstone has been signed to World Titan Federation. Of course, World Titan Federation, or WTF, is run by Mr. Saint Laurent, that has members like Matt Cardona, Filthy Tom Lawler, Chris DeLander, and now Alexander Hammerstone. So yeah, that's Mr. Saint Laurent has a very good, very big, and a very tough faction in his federation right now. So, and he is looking to take over MLW with his World Titan Federation. So it'll be interesting to see what plays out over the next few months. Of course, Matt Cardona now has his eyes set on Alex Kane and the MLW World title. That's going to be happening next month at one of their, I forget what their big event's called, coming up next month. So now we move on after this long rant to tonight's episode of Reality of Wrestling. We started off the show with the general manager, Abel Andrew Jackson, making the announcement that the tag team championships are vacated and that he has chosen the number one contenders, which would be Warren Johnson and Zach Mason, Fly Def. And this decision did not sit well with the Nature Boys, Dylan Fleer, and I forget what his tag team partner's name is. They would come out, they would argue, saying, and this would set up a match to open the show between Fly Def and the Nature Boys, and that would end, and that would have the stipulation of it being a number one contenders match, plus Dylan Fleer's hair would be on the line, and Fly Def wound up winning this one, and meant that Dylan Fleer would have to have his head shaved, which he wound up getting after trying to run away, but security brought him back and sat him in the barber chair, and Fly Def wound up shaving his head. So that was it for that. Then we had J.P. Harlow and Joey Hyder, H2EZ. They defeated the Remote Controls in tag team action. And then in the main event, it was Axiom of NXT defeating Rudy Garza in what I thought was a really good match. So, yeah, that was pretty much tonight's episode of Reality of Wrestling. Like I said, I've watched Reality of Wrestling in the past. I've watched a couple of their shows. I think that they have some really good talent there. Like I said, who knows? Maybe one day we'll see these, some of these guys maybe get a tryout with WWE. I know Booker T is associated with WWE, so maybe he'll talk to, maybe he'll try to talk to the boss, to the court, to higher ups, and maybe try to get some of these guys an opportunity, for a tryout. Who knows? But we'll see. Have to wait and see. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. This has been my recap of tonight's episode of Reality of Wrestling. As always, I am Brian, and I will see you next time. See ya.